I feel as if that roundtable discussion could have gone for another hour. Perhaps in the future, we'll allot time for such. What a series of powerful expressions that we've had so far in day one and here in day two already, and we're almost halfway done. It goes so fast. Thank you for the powerful expressions from our last group of panelists. We have more to arrive, but first, joining me on stage is Dr. Muhsinah Morris of Morehouse College, who's doing extraordinary work in the XR industry, a chemist major, a global speaker. Here to join me at the intersection of AI and education, Dr. Morris, with an unmuted mic, we welcome you.
Hi there.
We're so thankful to be able to have you with us today here in this January 2024. It seems like we were just here so many months ago, and yet here we are in yet a new year, a new month, and a new season. As you know, the AI has arrived in a very dramatic sense. It's not new, but it's certainly emerging. With that said, in the theater academia, on the college campuses, not just here in the US, but around the world, when we look at AI shifting the classroom, what are you seeing with the arrival of today's present narrow AI, and with great consideration that, let it be told, that AGI is around the corner? Have you begun to see educational impact with artificial intelligence, Dr. Morris?
Absolutely. So what we're seeing in education is what happens in education a lot. In higher education, you see a lot of research on the cutting edge. You see a lot of artificial intelligence in the departments of software engineering and computer science. So those have always been happening. Those types of research initiatives have always been going. Now what you're starting to see is more use cases and applications within the education sectors. So in individual disciplines, what are the most robust AI tools? How can we use them effectively? How can we use them ethically? How can we train our young people on how to use these with integrity and maintain the credibility of their work? And we're doing the same thing with educators in terms of making sure that educators understand the utility of these tools, how they are used, and how they can be exploited by our students. But we don't want to harp on all of the negative things that can happen. But what we do know is we all are in a transition phase, as you will, where people who felt like they finished school are back in school. And it's a lifelong learning school. As technology continues to rapidly change, education will not just be within the confines of the gates of a Morehouse College or in a K-12 environment. Education is happening all around us, on every platform, on every medium. And we've got to make sure that the right information is getting put out there.
Indeed. We talk about information audience. It was just in the summer of where the UN came in and launched a rather damning article, if you will, on the biggest liability, or if you will, the challenge when it comes to these generative pre-trained transformers is exactly what you're referencing, Dr. Morris, when it comes to the ecosystem of information itself and the threat therein. And misinformation and disinformation, and not to go on the existential crisis. There's enough summits and events and news platforms to be able to exercise that. Let's turn this and flip it on its head when we start talking about AI and the ecosystem of information. It was just brought up to yesterday about the AI powered metaverse, if you will, a quite intriguing discussion. And at the same time, at our AI educational panel, who teaches the teachers when it comes to this technology that's just so advanced? And now we're seeing really the relevancy and perhaps with gratitude, those educators such as yourself that meet at the intersection of emerging technologies in education.
So that's a loaded comment because that really wasn't a question, but I'm going to answer. And what I say is this: who teaches the teachers? That's easy. That's me. I teach the teachers because that's really what I do. I go around and do professional development, building workshops, actually customized for the environment that they're in. If it's an educational institution, they might want something different because their culture is different. And I think that this is going to bring about a lot of more personalization of what education looks like, which is great because your own institution has its own culture. And you want to make sure that you're upholding the mission and vision of your organization. You want to make sure that if you're going to add something, that you're not also taking away what is there, right? You want to enhance it. You want to make sure that it is better. And in order for it to be better, you have to make sure that you are training the people who will be delivering the information. And that is a lot of what I do, is making sure that my peers, my colleagues are comfortable with talking about AI and emerging technologies. I tell them all the time, the subject matter experts have changed. Our children, age 4, 3, 2, 1, are walking around with subject matter experts with more information in their hand than we had in our entire heads by the time we reached 100 years old. I mean, literally, these young kids have access to powerful amounts of information. So we can't, as educators, think that, I'm the subject matter expert and I don't want anybody to know more than where I am because it makes me uncomfortable, or I have to learn another way of being a professional. No, we have to embrace it and lean in, and we have to ensure that these technologies are being used appropriately, but that our young people are able to tinker and explore and bring back the curiosity and the development and discovery of learning. Because what's happening is, it's not that our educational system is so broken. Human beings didn't change. Human beings are still curious, innately trying to discover. That didn't change. What changed is we put them in a circumstance or a situation that we have not changed. It's an antiquated learning model. That learning model has to change, and the only way to do that is to make sure that the educators have the tools that they need, the right technological tools, to transform education in a way that engages and enhances learning for learners.
I find that rather fascinating, and thank you for sharing that, Dr. Morris. I get the sense that platforms such as whether it's Google's DeepMind and Bard and Gemini, or whether we're looking at Claude 2, or we're looking at the team over at OpenAI and incredible things that are happening with Microsoft's pilots, if you will. I get the sense that when we saw GPT deployed, I felt as if you look at the Ilya Sutskever's and the brilliant technologists in this space, the Professor Hittens, the Fei Lees, I felt like what they've done is they've created pots and pans, and they've delivered it to you and I and others, the chefs, and they sat back with alarming curiosity to find out, what is it that you'll make? What dish will you make? Because there's certainly not enough people in their ranks to be able to discover how AI will be implemented. And when it comes to emerging technologies, you and I know, Dr. Morris, that in the hands of those that aren't the ones that make it are often the true professionals, the adopters. And so as you're paving the way forward, we're already told that the AI that we're using that's powerful in the hands of our young people, that today's AI is soon to dramatically change with the arrival audience of artificial general intelligence. And so when we look at what we're dealing with today, it's already moving faster than we've ever seen technology move at a rapid and advanced, accelerated clip. The techno and the cadence of technology has changed, Dr. Morris. How do educators keep up?
We are lifelong learners anyway. Educators, people who are in the profession of education, love to learn. They love to learn and they love to disseminate information. They love for people to come to them and ask them questions, and they are innately curious. And so, because we are naturally astute, we tend to look at those things that our interests bring us to, right? And because we know how to learn, we know how to teach others how to learn, we end up absorbing information even faster. Everyone isn't trained in that way. People ask me all the time, how do you speak about any topic, any subject? I taught biomolecular chemistry. I taught organic chemistry. I taught analytical chemistry and advanced level chemistry. I had to break down technical knowledge into layman's terms to people who had blank slate minds that didn't have any idea. And so it's very easy for me to understand where someone is coming from when they really don't have an idea. But educators just innately have grabbed hold to this and want to do more to leverage it. And they're confined by the educational systems that they are a part of. And so what I have seen is a lot of people starting homeschool pods and groups, educating their children in programs outside of the educational institution. You have people that are starting outreach programs where they're doing more community-centered events to get the information in the hands. I'm doing several listening sessions during February in the community, not just to hear about the concerns of the community, but to also tell them about what is the lowest barrier to entry into understanding the technology? How can we make sure that we are serving your needs? What is it that you think your children need? A lot of us are so deep in the weeds. And I'm a mom, right? I have 5 sons. I have 2 sons that have autism. I have a gifted child. I have a child that has other developmental things going on. But I have run the gamut when it comes to child development from ages 27 to 6. So I have seen it all. And then I am the Dr. Mom of the metaverse at Morehouse College, where it's 2,200 young Black men all striving for excellence and to be leaders. And so what I realize is these young people are thirsty for understanding. And even though they're digital natives, even though they are the connected student that come on streaming everything from everywhere, they are very tentative and afraid because they have not adequately been taught. And that's where the educator comes in. That's where we must embrace that our young people are curious and are seeking. And for higher education institutions, we don't want to put our children through 4 years of understanding education and theory, and they can't work because the workplace and the jobs that are out there are now, you don't need a degree for them, you need a skill for them, right? And if we don't start teaching skills, concrete skills that are future proofing the pathways and the careers, especially in HBCUs, especially in our minority serving institutions, especially in our minority communities, we're going to be in trouble. We cannot allow fear to keep us from understanding. We've got to solicit someone like yourself, get on some of these summits, contact me, and get some understanding. And I'm happy to provide that for the community.
Dr. Morris, as quick as the time came is as quick as it leaves. I certainly have been on your campus before. I've seen the students firsthand on how they react to you. It's outstanding. It's fascinating. Audience, you're sitting here in the presence of the real deal. Dr. Morris, we certainly appreciate you joining with us, and we hope to have you again soon here at another GatherVerse in just within a few weeks. We know we will, and we're so thankful for your time.
Thank you. Everybody, look me up at unitethemetaverse.com and look for me to teach classes on just immersive intelligence, what it happens at this intersection about AI, and just trying to make it fun for you, right? So a lot of edutainment coming your way.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. Audience, we have an incredible panel that's heading in, and we're about to get started on that now. We hope that you're keeping safe, well, and even happy, even during these sessions.